Hey everybody, it's Scotty from Scotty's Record Shop with a video maybe primarily targeted at the people that are new to collecting records. I want to talk about uh, buying records, where to, things like that. And I know there's probably a bunch of other videos about this out there, but I just figured I'd put my 2 cents in. What spawned this was last night I ordered a few records from a dealer I'd never dealt with before on Discogs. And as I was going through that process, like I always do with a new seller, because I do it a certain way just for me, to check and see if they're real and how well it works, even though they have a good rating. You know, I have a process, and I thought I'd share that process with you guys a little bit. Just wanted to tell you a couple different ways you can buy records. If you're new to this, obviously, if you're lucky enough to have a used record store in your neighborhood, that's the best way because it's fun. It's not just about having a great record collection or getting what everybody else says is hip on in the vinyl community. It's about the interaction. For me, it's about going there, not really having something in your head saying, I'm going to get this, but then you walk out with something totally different, but you're happy. I went record shopping a couple days ago. I only found like, what I showed the last video, 10 records? But it wasn't about the quantity, it was about the quality of time that I spent and with friends and talking about music and stuff like that. It was just, that's half the fun and the adventure of, finding something and having it move you, not knowing, not even realizing, hey, I really would like that, before you walk in. So used record store, if you got a used record store, you go for it. Another advantage about used record stores is being there. You can see the disc, what shape it's in, and you can make your determination on whether you want it or not. The pricing and everything else. It looks to be in good shape. I'll get to this whole looks to be thing in a minute. The other way, or another way, is online. A lot of options online. One that a lot of people use is Discogs, which is an online marketplace. You basically put in what you want. It'll tell you what's pressings and all kinds of amazing information, but it'll also give you a list of sellers who have it. You have different conditions that they're in, good, mint, whatever. You have pricing. You can organize it by so many different ways. Again, when you're buying online, though, keep in mind that you're going to have shipping charges. And because usually it's not free. But there are times where if you look at a seller's description of buy it and this is what the shipment stuff is, sometimes they'll go, if you have an order over $30 or if you buy this many records, it's free shipping. And that's a good way to get stuff to yourself pretty cheap. Not everybody does that, but know that. And if you're in America and you're buying something from Canada, any other place out of America, or if you're living in Canada, God, you guys, if you're in Canada and you're trying to get stuff up to Canada, you know how expensive that is. So just keep that in mind. Is it worth it to you? You may buy a $5 record in Japan. It looks like a great deal until you find out it's $25 for it to get shipped to you, and it's going to take a month. Is it worth it to you? It might be. Who knows? So Discogs is a wonderful place. eBay, it's not a bad place. I mean, some people have some nasty things to say about eBay. Some people have nasty things to say about Discogs too. It's kind of all up to you. But it is an opportunity. Not as much fun to me because it's like, okay, I know what I want. I'm just going to click it and it's going to be there. There's no adventure in it. So that's another way to get records. Let's get into this whole grading system. A lot of people use this thing called the Goldmine grading system. Goldmine is a wonderful magazine, by the way. How this works, basically, though, is most people visually grade their records. If you're selling thousands of records online, or if you have a record store and you have thousands of records, the odds are good it's not play graded. It is visually graded. That's pretty good determination if you know what you're doing and you've got a good light, you're looking at it under, but it's not perfect. It's not foolproof because a record could look really wonderful. I've looked at records at my local record store and thought, man, this is mint. This is great. And I got it home and it skipped. There was one needle tick and it skipped. How did that happen? Couldn't see it. it's just the nature of records. It's one of the, I almost won't want to use this word, but downfall with records. They're very fragile or somewhat fragile. The grooves are very fine. So you could get something, a seller could take and say, this is a great record, mint. I don't believe in mint unless it's sealed. But it's a great record. It really looks good, and you just never know. They didn't deceive you. They just didn't play grade it. They didn't have time. On the other end of it, too, is older records. A lot of them, some of them, most of them had deeper grooves in them. Why that works to your advantage is that a record could look kind of, a lot of scuff marks, but would still play fine because the grooves are so deep that it's very superficial. With more recent albums, that scuff mark could cause havoc and could sound terrible, So you kind of almost have to, it's more than just, okay, there's a scuff mark, it shouldn't affect play. It all depends on the vinyl that the scuff mark is on, in reality. I want to say this too, this kind of drives me nuts. I mean, thank God people are usually pretty honest about, very good. You see a record. Now, if I say I went to lunch and it was very good, it was good. It was enjoyable. There was really nothing to complain about, right? It's very good. Not good, but very good. If you were in an airplane and I inspected that airplane before it went up and I noticed that everything was intact and all the screws were in the right place and there was no engine hanging off the wing, nothing like that improperly, I said, it's in very good shape. You're free to go. You would feel okay. But if I looked at that wing and there were several screws missing, but the wing is still on there, it should fly, and I call it very good, that's not very good. Sometimes I stay away from the very good unless I really, really need the record for a filler or I really want to hear it. Very good is kind of like questionable. Will it play? Will it not play? Do you mind a lot of crackle? What's your interpretation of very good? What's your interpretation of very good plus even with that gold mine standard? It's kind of a gray area at times. And when you're buying online, you have to take that into consideration. If you find a seller, like I'll tell you the process that I went through with this new seller. I bought cheap records. Okay, he had a lot of records that were like $1. There were a lot of more expensive records that I'm going to go back and find, as long as I find that the stuff that I got from him cheaply. See, I spent like $20 and got like 14 albums, and that's with the shipping because a lot of the records were $1 or $2, and there was like the shipping rate was a flat rate shipping rate. It was like $5, for however many records you want. In America, that was wonderful. I'm testing this. Are these records that all say they're very good? This guy actually had a lot of, these are in mint shape for $1. But his rating said, he was a pretty reputable seller. We're going to go with it. Test things like that. Don't buy something expensive from somebody the first time. If you're looking to make them because I have a few dealers on Discogs that I love dealing with. I know that when they say it's going to be this quality, it's going to be this quality, barring the things that I've told you about visual grading and stuff. I also have gotten some stuff from some sellers that I'm not going to say who they are here, but I just personally, for whatever reason, didn't care for the quality. They claimed it was this, and it really, so I probably won't go back again. But this is how I went through this process. I tried to get out of it as cheaply as possible, but finding out how this person's product is and their quality. That's a really good way to test because you can't see what you're getting until you get it. And if you've bought a $50, $100 copy of Velvet Underground's first record, and you get it home and it's supposed to be VG plus and it was not, and you blew all that money. Yeah, you can go through the process of whining and complaining to the guy and hopefully getting the money back, but why go through that process when you can just test the seller? And it's fun to buy records. You know what I mean? It's what's an extra couple of records in your collection? As long as you want them, before you go for that big prize from the person. Hopefully you get it. A thing too, this isn't looking at vinyl related or anything, but a lot of people are new. Some of this music is new to you. You see people on on the VC talking about different Velvet Underground, Alice Coltrane, things that you don't normally. Do you like those? Well, I may love Alice Coltrane. Be honest with you, I know very little about Alice Coltrane, but I'm just using her as an example. May love Alice Coltrane. You may not. So the best way, rather than even if you take recommendations from a lot of us, which is good, I've been inspired by people out there, by you guys, to buy records that I normally wouldn't have bought. But at the same time, if I'm questionable, and especially if it's an expensive record, I'm going to listen to it online first. See if I really like it. And if I don't like it, I don't have to take and say, you know what, I don't. You guys are nuts. I don't have to necessarily share that information, but I don't have to spend $50 on a Velvet Underground record or whatever album that I didn't really care for. It looks cool. Don't try to look cool to us. Be happy. Buy the music that you like. I'm a very commercial guy. I've taken a few hits from jerks. Some people who are kind of like, hey, when are you gonna show your Barry Manilow collection? I may end up showing my Barry Manilow collection just because a couple of people were. One person in particular, a couple of years ago, was really not very nice about it. I like Barry Manilow. I'm sorry. I'm a commercial person. I also like Miles Davis. I like all kinds of different music. But the point is that it moves me. Don't buy stuff. Please don't spend money that you don't have on stuff that you think will impress the rest of us, because it's not what it should be about. It should be about buying records. And if you don't like records, buy CDs. You know what I mean? I've got plenty of them. That's another debate. Do they sound better or whatever? If you think they sound better, then go for it. I don't care. As long as you're happy and you're getting music and you're digging it and it's making your day. It should be about uplifting you and not dragging you down. And if people are giving you a hard time, if you're new, if they're giving you a hard time because you like Barry Manilow, I'm picking on Barry Manilow a little bit, but like I said, I like Barry Manilow. He's somebody that's probably not the most popular person in the VC. I know that I'll get a few comments down there too, from people that are going to go, show me your Barry Manilow. But do it so you're happy. Make yourself happy with this stuff. That's what it's all about. And if people give you a hard time, just let it. Some people are born. Pardon my bluntness, but some people are born to bitch. There's nothing. They're just looking for negative. They're looking for whatever. Just don't. Let it be your own thing, and let it happen. That's what music's meant to do. It's meant to uplift you. At least my opinion. I hope you have a wonderful record buying experience. I hope some of these little hints, tips, whatever, have helped you. Just go out and get some records or CDs or whatever. Alrighty, guys. Until next time, peace and love.